Good evening and welcome to News Tonight on Rajya Sabha TV. I'm Tina Jha. Let's get started with the headlines. Pakistan reacts to ending special status for Jammu and Kashmir. Islamabad claims it will downgrade diplomatic relations, suspend bilateral trade and review bilateral agreements with India, besides taking the matter to the UN Security Council. Former External Affairs Minister Sushma Swaraj cremated with full state honours. Vice President M. Venkaiah Naidu, Prime Minister Narendra Modi among many leaders who attend last rites. Thousands pay homage to the departed leader at the BJP headquarters. The nation pays an emotional farewell to Sushma Swaraj. President says country has lost a much-loved leader. Vice President M. Venkaiah Naidu calls her an able administrator and the true voice of people. Prime Minister Modi says a great chapter has ended in Indian politics. Rajya Sabha pays tributes to the former member. Rajya Sabha adjourned sine die. In his valedictory address, Chairman M. Venkaiah Naidu calls budget session the best in the last 17 years. Informs members that Upper House cleared 32 bills and had a productivity of around 105%. Rajya Sabha returns Supreme Court Number of Judges Amendment Bill 2019 to Lok Sabha without discussion. And RBI cuts interest rates for the fourth time to boost growth. Key lending rates slashed by 35 basis points to 5.4%. SBI follows suit, announces reduction in lending rates by 15 basis points across all tenors from the 10th of August. And the top story this evening, after the government's move to abrogate Article 370 and bifurcate Jammu and Kashmir into two union territories, Pakistan on Wednesday decided to downgrade diplomatic ties with India, including suspension of bilateral trade. The decision was taken by the Pakistan National Security Council, chaired by Prime Minister Imran Khan. Pakistan has also decided to approach the United Nations, including the Security Council. The development comes a day after the Parliament adopted a resolution scrapping special status to Jammu and Kashmir under Article 370 and also passed a bill bifurcating the state into two UTs, Jammu and Kashmir and Ladakh. And for more on the story, let's go across to our Foreign Affairs editor, Akhilesh Suman. Akhilesh, good evening. Was such a move expected from Pakistan? And now what is going to be India's response? Have you been able to gather anything from your sources in the Ministry of External Affairs?
You know, Pakistan is always known to react in a knee-jerk way. And this is a knee-jerk reaction from Pakistani side after India decided to abrogate Article 370 and also bifurcate the Jammu and Kashmir state. So I think India has taken the decision according to its own decision how to curb terrorism in this whole region and also to enhance the development activities in the state. So I think Pakistan should have taken it constructively, but instead of taking it constructively, Pakistan has, tied itself with its own identity because Pakistan has always been thinking in a two-nation theory, and that is why I think there is a lot of reaction in Pakistan. And yesterday actually in National Assembly of Pakistan there were questions from opposition side, and also there are questions in Pakistan Tehreek-e-Islam, the ruling party of the country. So I think Imran Khan is under pressure, and due to this pressure actually he has done a window dressing that he has to react somehow or other. So that is why there was a National Security Committee meeting presided by Pakistan Prime Minister in Islamabad, and they had decided to downgrade the relationship, diplomatic relationship actually. But given the fact that, for last 3 months, Pakistan has not sent any High Commissioner, even though they have decided the name of the High Commissioner, and that High Commissioner is sitting in Islamabad for last 3 months. So in that way, there is no meaning of downgrading the relationship from Pakistani side. They are not sending the High Commissioner. So the repercussion may be that they will tell Indian High Commissioner to go come to Delhi. So India will do accordingly once it gets the letter. I was talking to ME officials, and ME officials told me that till now there has been no letter, there is no information that what Pakistan wants to do with India, what they have decided in relation to India. So I think once India gets the letter, then India will react accordingly. But as far as the relationship between India and Pakistan, is concerned, Tina, that we don't have a very warm relationship.
Yes.
India has told many a times that the bilateral dialogue that is suspended for many years will depend on how Pakistan acts against terrorist activities that is emanating from Pakistan's soil inside the Indian territory, and Pakistan has not taken any action against the terrorists. So in that way, India is not willing to go into comprehensive dialogue with Pakistan. That's very clear from the day one after 2014 when Prime Minister Narendra Modi taken oath of power for his first term. So in that way, it is not going to impact India's relation with Pakistan in any way. The other thing that downgrading the trade relations, we don't have very fantastic trade relation between India and Pakistan. Pakistan exports around 48.8 crore dollars of things. So India actually does it with a goodwill gesture that yes, let Pakistan export something inside India territory so that we can have some people-to-people relations. But if Pakistan wants to downgrade also, let it do. Other than that, the Pakistan is trying to tell that we will revisit bilateral relationship. Our bilateral relationship is actually at the lowest ebb.
Certainly,
and the only thing that we are talking about is Kartarpur corridor issue. And I think Pakistan has not told anything about Kartarpur corridor issue because Kartarpur corridor is a win-win situation for both India and Pakistan.
Certainly,
Pakistan
so what our correspondent is suggesting is that it's a knee-jerk reaction from Pakistan, but there's been no official reaction from the Ministry of External Affairs so far. So we'll have to wait and watch as to how India reacts to that move about Pakistan. Moving on in the bulletin, let's now talk about the final journey of departed Sushma Swaraj, the former External Affairs Minister of the country. The country today paid last respects to veteran BJP leader and former External Affairs Minister Sushma Swaraj. Her mortal remains were cremated with full state honours at the Lodi crematorium in New Delhi. Her last rites were performed by her daughter Basuri, with her father Swaraj Kaushal standing by her side. Vice President M. Venkaiah Naidu, Prime Minister Narendra Modi, BJP President Amit Shah and veteran party leaders along with union ministers including Rajnath Singh, Nitin Gadkari, Prakash Javadekar, Ramdas Athavale, Smriti Irani and Prahlad Patel attended the last rites. Political leaders cutting across party lines gathered to pay homage to Sushma Swaraj. They included Ghulam Nabi Azad, Anand Sharma, Sharad Yadav, among others. Earlier in the day, people were given an opportunity to pay their last respects to the former External Affairs Minister at the BJP headquarters. A funeral procession from BJP headquarters to Lodi crematorium was led by her daughter Basuri. Union ministers Rajnath Singh, Piyush Goyal, Ravi Shankar Prasad, JP Nadda and others played pallbearers. Sushma Swaraj passed away at Delhi's All India Institute of Medical Sciences after a cardiac arrest Tuesday night. And leaders cutting across party lines visited Sushma Swaraj's residence to pay their last respects earlier in the day. President Ramnath Kovind paid homage to the departed leader at her residence. He also offered his condolences to the bereaved family. Vice President M. Venkaiah Naidu bid an emotional farewell to Sushma Swaraj. He called her death a huge loss for the country as well as his personal loss. Prime Minister Narendra Modi also paid an emotional tribute to Sushma Swaraj. He also spoke to the bereaved family and offered his condolences. He termed her death an end of a great chapter in politics. Lok Sabha Speaker Om Birla also visited her residence to pay homage to her mortal remains. Union Ministers Amit Shah and Nitin Gadkari also paid tribute to her at her residence Wednesday morning.
दुनिया भर में भारतीय संस्कृति की प्रखर राजदूत श्री सुषमा जी थी, जिन्होंने भारतीय संस्कृति और भारत का पक्ष प्रखर रूप से विश्व के हर देशों के अंदर रखा। भारतीय राजनीतिक स्थिति का एक चमकता हुआ सूर्य आज श्री श्रीमती सुषमा स्वराज जी के रूप में अस्त हो गया। एक कुशल प्रशासक, संवेदनशील राजनेता, एक ओजस्वी प्रखर नेता के रूप में उन्होंने अपनी छवि बनाई थी। चाहे संसद के अंदर सत्ता पक्ष के मंत्री के रूप में हो, चाहे प्रतिपक्ष के नेता के रूप में हो, चाहे राज्यसभा के नेता के रूप में, उन्होंने एक सजग प्रखर रूप से अपनी बात सदन में हमेशा रखी थी। आज हम एक कुशल राजनेता को खोकर सारा देश दुखी है।
सुषमा जी के असामयिक निधन से मैं खुद और भारतीय जनता पार्टी के करोड़ों कार्यकर्ता और देश में उनके करोड़ों चाहने वाले क्षुब्ध हैं, दुखी हैं। देश भर की राजनीति के लिए बहुत बड़ी क्षति है। सुषमा जी इमरजेंसी के समय से ही देश के राजनीतिक नभ की एक चमकती हुई सितारे के रूप में उभर कर आई। दिल्ली के मुख्यमंत्री, देश की लोकसभा में विपक्ष की नेता और कई मंत्रालयों के मंत्री के रूप में उन्होंने अटल जी और मोदी जी की सरकार में एक कुशल प्रशासक की तरह काम किया। विदेश मंत्री के नाते गत 5 सालों में सुषमा जी ने मोदी जी के नेतृत्व में देश की ख्याति दिगंत तक पहुंचाने का काम किया। आज उनके जाने से एक बड़ी रिक्तता भारत के राजनीतिक क्षेत्र में खड़ी हुई है, जो लंबे समय तक मैं मानता हूं भर नहीं पाएंगे। आज भारतीय जनता पार्टी के करोड़ों कार्यकर्ता और भारतीय जनता पार्टी के पूरा नेतृत्वगण और व्यक्तिगत तौर पर मैं भी सभी अत्यंत दुख के साथ सुषमा जी को विदाई लेने के लिए अपना मन तैयार कर रहे हैं। मैं प्रभु से प्रार्थना करता हूं उनके परिवारजनों को ये आघात को सहन करने की शक्ति दे और स्वर्गीय सुषमा जी की आत्मा को चिर शांति प्रदान करे। और देश उनकी सेवाओं को हमेशा हमेशा के लिए याद रखेगा।
सुषमा जी का जाना देश का नुकसान है, पार्टी का नुकसान है और व्यक्तिगत रूप से मेरा भी बहुत बड़ा नुकसान है। सुषमा जी भारतीय राजनीति में ऐसी एक महिला थी कि उन्होंने चाल चलन व्यवहार और चरित्र से एक आदर्श भारतीय नारी की प्रतिमा भारतीय राजनीति में दी। विशेष रूप से इमरजेंसी के बाद उनका राजनीतिक उदय हुआ और उसके बाद में वो लगातार उस समय भारतीय जनता पार्टी की स्थापना से भारतीय जनता पार्टी के विस्तार में उनका बहुत बड़ा योगदान रहा। मैं जब पार्टी का अध्यक्ष था तो एक बड़े बहन के रूप में लगातार मुझे मार्गदर्शन करती थी, मेरी चिंता करती थी। मेरा स्वास्थ्य बीच में ठीक नहीं था तो उनने खुद आकर डॉक्टर मेरे घर पर ले आई और मेरा पूरा चेकिंग करने का आग्रह किया। एक बड़ी बहन मेरी जो है वो तो चली गई, उसी प्रकार की माया और प्रेम उन्होंने मुझे दिया। एक राजनीति में विदेश मंत्री के रूप में पूरे दुनिया में उन्होंने भारत की आन बान और सम्मान बढ़ाया।
Many opposition leaders, including UPA chairperson Sonia Gandhi, also paid tribute to the illustrious leader. As soon as the House met for the day, Rajya Sabha Chairman M. Venkaiah Naidu and members of the House also paid tributes to former External Affairs Minister Sushma Swaraj. Reading the obituary reference on the passing away of the former Rajya Sabha member, the chairman said, and I quote, "In her untimely demise, the nation has lost an able administrator, an effective parliamentarian, and a true voice of the people."
She participated in the movement led by late Jay Prakash Narayan and was elected to Haryana Assembly after the emergency in 1977. Since then, she took up several electoral challenges with a smile, demonstrating grit, grace, both in victory and in defeat. Srimati Sushma Swaraj was an effective orator with equal felicity in both Hindi and English languages and left an inerasable imprint of her both within and outside Parliament. A couple of hours before she breathed her last, her public message after Lok Sabha passed the bill related to Jammu Kashmir yesterday was, and I quote, "I was waiting to see this day in my lifetime," unquote. This clearly demonstrated her commitment for one India and one constitution. The untimely demise of Srimati Sushma Swaraj was a personal loss to me also. She was like my sister, who always addressed me as Anna, elder brother. She was a regular at family and cultural events at my residence for a long time. Every year on the occasion of Raksha Bandhan, she used to tie Rakhi on my hand, and I would be missing this honor this year. This year, as usual, I wanted to go to her house and tie Rakhi. She telephoned to me saying, "Please don't come." I said, "Why?" He said, "Now you are vice president of the country. You are not supposed to come to my house. I will come to your house and get the Rakhi tied." So she came and then tied Rakhi. I have lost a valuable sister in her demise, which is irreparable loss to me. Srimati Sushma Swaraj was grace, grit, affection, amiability, and ability personified. In her untimely demise, the nation has lost an able administrator, an effective parliamentarian, and a true voice of the people. She always dreamt of an India at its highest glory. I hope the words and deeds of the exemplary leader will continue to inspire all those in public life.
India bid a teary-eyed final farewell to one of its most loved and charismatic politicians today. Caring and approachable, Sushma Swaraj was lovingly called the People's Minister. With massive following on Twitter, Swaraj used the platform to address issues faced by Indians across the world in real time when she was External Affairs Minister. A powerful orator, feisty leader, and a politician of many firsts, Swaraj opted out of contesting the Lok Sabha elections this year following a kidney transplant in 2016. Let's take a look at the long and illustrious career of India's woman of grit, Sushma Swaraj.
नमामि शमीशान निर्वाण रूपम विभुम व्यापकम ब्रह्म वेद स्वरूपम निजम निर्गुणम निर्विकल्पम निरीहम चिदाकाशमाकाशवासम भजे.
Sushma Swaraj donned many hats in a political and public career that spanned over 4 decades. Born in 1952 in Haryana's Ambala to an eminent member of the Rashtriya Swayamsevak Sangh, Swaraj began her political career with the ABVP in the 1970s. In 1973, Swaraj started practicing as an advocate in the Supreme Court of India. She became a part of George Fernandez's legal defense team in 1975 and actively participated in Jayaprakash Narayan's Total Revolution movement. In 1977, Swaraj became the country's youngest cabinet minister at the age of 25 when she joined the Haryana government led by Devi Lal. Swaraj joined the Bharatiya Janata Party in 1984 and played a key role in strengthening the party across the country through the 1990s. She was elected as a member of the Rajya Sabha for the first time in 1990. She returned as a member of the upper house 4 more times and served as the deputy leader of opposition in Rajya Sabha from April 2006 till April 2009. In 1999, she unsuccessfully contested against Sonia Gandhi from Bellary in Karnataka. She lost but managed to open the southern gateway for the BJP. In 2003, as Health Minister in the Atal Bihari Vajpayee government, Swaraj spearheaded the Pulse Polio program. She also served as Minister of Parliamentary Affairs. In 2009, Swaraj made history once again when she became the first woman leader of opposition, replacing her mentor Lal Krishna Advani. She held this position till 2014.
आप इस देश के मुखिया हैं, आप इस सरकार के मुखिया हैं. अब इससे काम नहीं चलेगा कि उसने कर दिया होगा, मुझे कुछ नहीं पता. आप उर्दू जबान समझते हैं बहुत अच्छी तरह से और शेरों में बहुत बड़ी ताकत होती है अपनी बात को आसानी से सहजता से कहने की. आज एक शेर पूछ करके मैं आपसे जवाब पूछना चाहती हूँ. तू इधर उधर की ना बात कर, ये बता कि काफिला क्यों लूटा. तू इधर उधर की ना बात कर, ये बता कि काफिला क्यों लूटा. हमें रहजनों से गिरा नहीं, तेरी रहबरी का ख्याल है, तेरी रहबरी.
The former Minister of External Affairs notched up several firsts over her long political career, including being the country's youngest ever cabinet minister, the first woman chief minister of Delhi, and the first woman spokesperson for any national political party. In a short stint as Delhi's first woman chief minister, Swaraj was able to leave an imprint by going beyond the call of duty and with moves such as the midnight raids at police stations to improve law and order situation. Swaraj had a special connection with Madhya Pradesh, which she represented in parliament multiple times. She was elected to the Lok Sabha from Vidisha in Madhya Pradesh in 2009 and 2014 and also represented the state in the Rajya Sabha once. Known for excellent oratory in English, Hindi and Sanskrit, Swaraj was recognized as one of India's most efficient ministers, quick to grasp the issues at stake and willing to do what was necessary. Sushma Swaraj received the Best Parliamentarian Award twice in the years 2008 and 2010 and was the first ever and the only woman MP to receive the Outstanding Parliamentarian Award.
दूरदर्शन के सामने जीवंत प्रसारण देखने वाला हिंदुस्तान का वो मतदाता उनके त्याग पत्र की घोषणा के साथ कहाँ उठे थे. ये अन्याय हुआ है, अन्याय हुआ.
In 2014, Swaraj was awarded the prestigious External Affairs portfolio under the Modi government. She was the second woman to take charge of this ministry after Indira Gandhi and the first to take it fully. Her Twitter follower count crossed the 13 million threshold, making Swaraj the world's most followed woman leader and the most followed foreign minister. From reuniting families to helping citizens recover their passports and travel home safe, every request for help, whether big or small, would get her attention and be instantly resolved if it was in her domain as foreign minister. Her last tweet just 3 hours before her death praised Prime Minister Modi for the centre's move on Article 370 in Jammu and Kashmir. It has been liked over 330,000 times and retweeted over 74,000 times.
On to some other news now. Rajya Sabha was adjourned sine die on Wednesday. As the 249th session of Rajya Sabha concluded, Chairman Venkaiah Naidu said that in this session, a total of 32 bills were passed in 35 sittings. The chairman termed this session the best in the last 17 years, with major bills such as the Triple Talaq Bill, the National Investigation Agency Amendment Bill, the Unlawful Activities Prevention Amendment Bill, the RTI Amendment Bill, the Jammu and Kashmir Reorganization Bill and the National Medical Commission Bill being passed by the upper house during the budget session. The chairman lauded the house, stating, and I quote, "This August house turned most purposeful and productive." The chairman also congratulated the deputy chairman, the secretary general, as well as other staff members. And amid heightened security in the Kashmir Valley, National Security Advisor Ajit Doval reviewed the situation in Shopia district and also met with the local people. On Tuesday, Doval had met Jammu and Kashmir Governor Satyapal Malik at the Raj Bhavan and discussed the prevailing situation. 2 days after the centre's announcement to scrap special status for Jammu and Kashmir and split it into 2 union territories, Section 144 remains even as communication links remain down. For the 4th straight time, the Reserve Bank of India cut its benchmark repo rate by 35 basis points to 5.40%. The move is aimed at boosting growth, aggregate demand and private investment amid benign inflation projections. The State Bank of India cut lending rates hours after the Reserve Bank of India lowered interest rates for the 4th time this year. In its 3rd bi-monthly monetary policy meet, RBI has cut repo rate and reserve repo rate by 35 basis points. Repo rate is the rate at which the Reserve Bank lends short-term money to banks. That is now down to 5.4%. Reverse repo rate, which is the rate at which the central bank borrows money from commercial banks, now stands at 5.15%. The central bank kept retail inflation forecast within a target of 3.5 to 3.7% for the second half of 2019-20. However, it cut the GDP forecast to 6.9% for the current fiscal from 7% projected earlier.
Against the backdrop of recent developments and incoming data, today the MPC voted unanimously to reduce the policy repo rate and to maintain the accommodative stance of monetary policy. As set out in the MPC's resolution, 4 members voted for a reduction in policy repo rate by 35 basis points, while 2 members voted to reduce the policy repo rate by 25 basis points.
And that's it from us in this bulletin. Thank you for your time.